I am here to talk to you about suffering, specifically suffering as illustrated in Lord of the Rings.
I wish the ring had never come to me. I wish none of this had happened.
So do all who live to see such times, but that is not for them to decide. All we have to decide is what to do with the time that is given to us.
So, quick synopsis of Lord of the Rings. It is a tale of bringing a ring of power to a faraway, horrible to get to location in order to destroy it. So there are characters who want to use this ring of power, but what they don't know is that this ring of power will consume anyone who tries to use it. So many people think that they can use this ring for their benefit, but they end up being slaves to the ring. So the ring for this reading with me, TSW girl, is going to represent suffering. So suffering. I want to talk about how the suffering impacts each of the characters in the story, and specifically, if you're going through TSW or something else horrific and suffering related, how that affects you. So the main character in the tale is Frodo, and he receives the ring and he understands that he has to take the ring to its final destination to be unmade. So there are other ring bearers who have carried this ring before, the suffering before, and the one I'm most concerned with is named Gollum. So Frodo's a hobbit, and Gollum used to be a hobbit, just like Frodo, except Gollum found the ring and, not knowing what it was, became consumed by it, and he called it his precious, which I'm sure anybody knows at this point. But that is very interesting to me as a sufferer, as anybody as a sufferer, because suffering does become precious to you, or it can if you don't have the right mindset. So I want to contrast the mindsets between Frodo, who handled his suffering nobly and appropriately, and Gollum and other people who did not handle their suffering nobly and appropriately. And we can see how that kind of rolls out in each of our lives. So for Gollum, his response to suffering was to cherish it, to hold it near and dear to himself, and to allow it to alienate him. So he held on to his suffering, and it drove him far away from his home, his peaceful, beautiful home in the Shire, to the mountains. And not only the mountains, but underneath at the roots and the base and the depths of the mountains. So I think anyone who has experienced real suffering can say right there, I feel you. We have all been at the roots and the base and the depths of the mountains. And he let the ring completely consume him. And once again, it was precious to him, where I think someone could have gone to Gollum and said, do you want to let go of this suffering? And he would have said, absolutely not. This is precious to me. I need this to live. And I've seen a lot of people who have endured great suffering do the same thing. So he lost his taste for food, and that means more than just literal food, but any pleasure, anything good that this world can offer is dirt to you because you are all so consumed by suffering. So contrasting that with Frodo, who also received this ring, he understood the power of it, which I think is really important for suffering, that you need to understand the great power that is being thrust upon you, and you can respond in one of two ways. You can let it consume you, or you can ride it out to its inevitable conclusion with great dignity and respect. So suffering ultimately can either expand your heart and give you wisdom and make you a softer person who's more empathetic and understands people and what they're going through better. Or suffering can make you a really bitter, horrible person who is so self-absorbed by yourself and your own suffering, and you think that your suffering is greater than everybody else's and nobody would understand, and how could they understand? Or you can find a group of friends like Frodo did and say, I cannot bear this alone. I need to bear it. Nobody else was able to take the ring for him. Nobody else had that power, just like you who are surrounded by your friends and family. Nobody can take your suffering away for you. All they can do is watch you bear the ring and to encourage you and help you in your journey. So Frodo's best friend in the tale is Sam, and at the end of the movie, when Frodo has completely lost all of his strength and is not able to climb the mountain to unmake this ring, have it end his suffering, Sam says, "I can't carry the ring for you, but I can carry you." And that's something that has been really helpful for me and my care team to realize too. They can't carry the ring for me. They can't carry my suffering. But at moments, they can carry me. So they can help make me meals, they can drive me places, they can send me encouraging letters, they can buy me lotion, like soft clothes to be in, all of those things. Those don't take away my suffering, but they do help carry me forward. So if you are a care agent right now, you can't take the suffering away, especially if you are going through topical steroid withdrawal right now. It is withdrawal. It is going to consume your life, but there's a point of acceptance that you need to reach, and bravery to say, I will see this out to its conclusion, and I will not let this consume me. So that's my quick take on Lord of the Rings and bravery and suffering, and something that really helped me when I was trying to understand myself during this moment and feeling like a burden. And I want to encourage you, sufferers, you are not a burden, you are carrying a burden. And communicate that to your care team too, because that was a revelation for me, and I think for all of us, when I was able to verbalize that. Say, you are not a burden, you are carrying a burden. You are carrying a really heavy, grave burden, but other people can carry you and can help you. Once they know that it's not your fault for being a burden, there is a burden put upon you that you are holding. And soon you will be able to throw that ring into the mountain of fire and have it unmade. And very small side note too, at the end of the tale is the only people who are able to go to the undying lands, so kind of the story's heaven, are the ring bearers. I think that's really telling that there is a really special kind of peace and bliss on the other side of suffering that only the sufferers, only the ring bearers, are able to truly enjoy and see. Everybody else in the story, all of Frodo's friends, went back to their normal lives, and certainly they were touched by his suffering and touched by that tale. But only the ring bearers got to go to the undying lands. So there is a really beautiful other side of suffering, and I think in really deep suffering there's going to be some insight that you have into the world that nobody else is going to be able to have from this. And once again, that's only if you handle your suffering like Frodo and not like Gollum and hold on to it and have it be precious to you and turn inward and go into the darkness at the base of the mountains and never come back out. So if you are at that point right now where you are in the darkness at the base of the mountains, have some friends come around you, ask for their help. And for me, the biggest answer was prayer and knowing that in Jesus, I have a friend that sticks closer than a brother, and he is with me even in those depths, darknesses of the roots of the mountain that is over top of me. And he will see me through. So if you don't have that, at least get some friends around and know that they are going to see you through, even though their strength is finite. And they might not be able to walk the whole way with you, but rejoice in the small ways that they can hold you up and hold you together. So there you go.